Africa's energy industry is pushing ahead. April brought key developments across oil, gas, and renewables, with figures that highlight the scale and ambition of projects underway. So, let's talk about them. One of the most significant financial milestones was the progress made towards launching the Africa Energy Bank. With Nigeria, Angola, and Ghana fully meeting their capital commitments, the AEB is now 44% funded, placing the continent one step closer to securing $5 billion in financing aimed specifically at oil and gas projects. This shift comes as Western banks increasingly retreat from fossil fuel investments, leaving Africa to build its own financial infrastructure. 2. Tunisia advanced its renewable energy agenda as Qatar signed a 25-year power purchase agreement for the 120-megawatt CD Bauxite 2 solar project. Backed by Aeolus, a Toyota Tsusho Group company, this project is expected to help Tunisia meet its goal of 30% renewable electricity by 2030, while reducing its reliance on imported gas. 3. In Nigeria, the appointment of Bayo Bashir Ojulari as CEO of NNPCL marked a major strategic shift. With over 30 years of experience at Shell and in indigenous farms, Ojulari's task is to reshape an institution long associated with inefficiency and opacity. The complete board overhaul aims to drive commercialization, transparency, and value optimization. 4. Lime Petroleum signed a rig deal with Borgard Limited to revive Benin's Seme oil field, dormant since 1998. The 120-day drilling campaign, starting in mid-2025, will employ modern horizontal well technology, showing renewed investor interest in Benin's offshore oil prospects. 5. Despite the optimism, Nigeria's crude oil production continues to struggle. Output fell from 1.53 million barrels per day in January to 1.4 million barrels per day in March, marking an 8.4% drop in Q1. Pipeline attacks, including an explosion on the Trans-Niger pipeline near Bodo that disrupted 450,000 barrels per day, remain a major challenge. 6. Khalda Petroleum Company in Egypt announced 3 new discoveries in the Western Desert, which will collectively add 2,750 barrels of oil and condensate and 20 million cubic feet of gas per day. This pushes Khalda's gas production to over 480 million cubic feet per day, reinforcing Egypt's role as a regional energy supplier. 7. Offshore Mauritania and Senegal, BP has shifted its first LNG cargo from the Greater Tortue Ahmeyim GTA Phase 1 project. Operating at depths of 285 meters, the project is expected to produce 2.4 million tons of LNG per year, with additional gas volumes allocated for local energy needs. 8. Libya launches first oil and gas bid round in 17 years, offering 22 exploration blocks over 235,000 square kilometers, targeting an increase in production from 1.4 million barrels per day to 2 million barrels per day within 3 years. Meanwhile, Tanzania opened its first licensing round in more than a decade, auctioning 26 blocks across Lake Tanganyika and the Indian Ocean. 9. In a significant move toward renewable adoption, Comoros launched a 6.3 megawatt solar power plant in Moroni, funded by the Abu Dhabi Fund for Development. At $7 million, the plant will serve Moroni and surrounding areas, reducing reliance on imported fuel. 10. BW Energy found 25 billion barrels of recoverable oil offshore Gabon, while Namibia saw major activity across several blocks. Rhino Resources struck oil at Capricornus 1X in the Orange Basin, producing over 11,000 barrels per day of light oil. Recon Africa is targeting 365 million barrels of unraced oil and 1.7 trillion cubic feet of gas. Chevron and Total Energies remain active despite mixed results, with the latter's Marula 1X well showing no hydrocarbons but continuing to explore other prospects.